Alright, so we're going to start on the piston here. It's a piece of 3/8 brass and the collet. So we'll start by facing it off, cleaning it up a little bit, and we got to drill a counter bore in there. So let's get started. Okay, I'm gonna just give that a little bit more room. Let's get that a little bit more space to work with. Okay. Okay, now this is 3/8 diameter. It's a 3/8 bore for the cylinder. Just want to see if this fits. So it's a little tight. So I'm just gonna take a skim cut on that, just to clean that up ever so slightly. And let's see here. My feet in the right direction now. Just a little tight. Take a little bit off. Okay, I'm just going to let that run down then. Going to go a little bit more on that. That's a little snug. I'm using my compound to feed a little bit in. Okay, that's nice. Alright, so got to put a little counter bore in here and a couple of oil grooves. I'll do that with that scriber that I always use, and then that gets parted off. Before I part that off though, I think I'm going to drill the hole for the wrist pin. But I'll get the rest of this done now. This way I don't lose any concentricity in anything. So let me bring you back when I get something set up to do that counter bore. Now we'll start with a center drill here and get that going. Alright, 1/4 inch drill bit there, and that's got to go in a distance of 5/16 of an inch. So let me get my get things set up here. What I'll do is this is a 20 thousandths feeler gauge. I'll start by dropping it underneath the lathe. Alright, let's do this again here. 20 thousandths feeler gauge. And butt this up against there. Okay, lock that down. Okay, zero my little indicator on my tailstock. Pull this out, advance it 20 thousandths, and let's see, advance it there, and I got to go 5/16 of an inch deep in there, so I'll keep advancing it until the readout is 1875. Alright, now what I'll do is I'll put a quarter inch end mill in here, and I'll just bottom that out and just flatten out that I'll just flatten out the bottom of that hole, and I'll do the same thing. I'll just use this zero that out, and go in, advance it 20 thousandths, re-zero it, and advance it 3125. It feels like a nice flat hole in there, and let's see. Okay, try to get this straight here. So, alright, close enough, within 2 thousandths. And now I just got to put a little larger bore for a depth of, it's going to be a 5/16 diameter counter bore for a depth of 1/8 of an inch. So so this is a 5/16 bore here, 1/8 of an inch deep, and then the 1/4 inch bore, which I flattened out the bottom there with the 1/4 inch end mill. And so now I'll put a couple of oil grooves in here, and before I part that off, I'll put it in a collet block, and I'll bring it over to the mill, and I'll drill the hole for the wrist pin to go through. So that'll give me something to hold on to, and once that's drilled, I could part it off, and the piston should be done. So bring it back in a couple of minutes. Alright, so I got my carbide scriber in a tool holder here. This is on center, and I got my carriage stop here, and I'm gonna go in about 10 thousandths, and I'll back it out, and I'll move it a 1/16 of an inch over, do the same thing, and I'll put 3 oil grooves in there, 1/16 of an inch apart from one another. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so you can see the 3 grooves there, I think. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is take this out. I'll put it in a collet block, and we'll go over to the mill, and we'll drill the hole for the wrist pin. And so it's in the collet block here, and I centered it this way, and you know, in the Y direction, and came off 3/16 of an inch from the bottom. So got a center drill in there, so we'll start that with that, and then we'll come back with a 1/16 of an inch drill bit and drill that down through. So let's see, just make sure I got enough travel here. Go right through on that. Alright, we'll go back over the lathe and part that off at 3/8 of an inch total length, and this piston is done. Alright, so we'll get that parted off, and gave it a little bit more than 3/8 of an inch there, and just so we could flip that around and face it off. Part this off. 1,500, so 2,000. I don't know, 2,500. The piston here is pretty much done, and I think the only thing I did was maybe I could have made the grooves, spaced them out a little bit more, but there was no dimensions on that, and I kind of just eyeballed it. But I think it'll be fine. So, alright. Just the next thing we'll work on is the connecting rod. So, alright guys. Yeah, probably make another one because that just rolled under the bench.